Hey, this is the Android Police Podcast. I'm Ryan Whitwam,
I'm Cody Toombs.
And I'm Jules Wong.
and we're going to talk about a lot of googly things that happened this week, starting with the Stadia reveal. Well, not like the reveal of Stadia as a thing, but the reveal of all the things you care about, like when it's coming and how much it'll cost. And the answer to the latter is, I think, kind of generally disappointing to people because Google is going with a subscription fee and purchasing games for like the premium version of Stadia.
I sort of get it because those publishers, they got to earn their own thing as well. And then there's the actual traffic that Google has to manage and handle with their servers. So it's kind of it's always been a two-tiered thing at the approach of it. But I get the kind of biting feeling that people have been expecting.
So Stadia launches in November, but you can only use it at that point if you buy the, what do they call it, the Founders Edition bundle from the Google Store.
Edition.
It's $130. It comes with 3 months of Stadia Pro, a controller, a Chromecast Ultra, a copy of Destiny 2, and another 3-month trial, I think, that you can give to a friend.
Yeah, it's a buddy pass, as they say.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, $130.
Okay, well, really quick, you just said it can only be used with that bundle, isn't it?
My understanding. When it launches, it's just for people who bought the Founders Pack, and then it opens to everybody else.
The actual hardware situation is kind of confusing at the start because with the fact sheet that they gave the press, when Stadia Base launches, which the base is 1080p 60 stereo.
Okay, yeah, we should clarify. So Stadia Pro, the thing you will pay $10 a month for, goes up to 4K 60 frames per second. And that comes with a selection of like included games, like probably, like older things, stuff that you're not going to care as much about. And then you can buy games like the AAA title, like new stuff that you actually will want to play. You buy those like in addition to your subscription. And then, so that's what's going to launch first. And then next year, they didn't say when, presumably not, too long. We'll get Stadia Base, and that has no subscription fee, but it's locked to 1080p and doesn't have any extra free games. But you still just buy your games.
Yeah, and there are some discounts for the pro guys as well. So if you want to, I mean, they're kind of bouncing things out, but it's still something that is kind of a barrier. I was going to say that the base, so they're going to do the Founders Edition. They're going to distribute that. Pro will start in November. And those 3 months, I presume that right after the 3-month subscriptions hit out, they'll begin starting base service. And the fact sheet that they gave us said it was Chrome on web as well as Pixel 3 3A series devices. And that's kind of, if you have a Chrome, like what's stopping a Chromecast regular user from just hopping on base and
probably the Wi-Fi in the base model Chromecast, I would assume.
Is it
I think it's just N, right?
Yeah, single band, huh?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I mean, but you have to have the Chromecast Ultra, and that goes up to 4K. So obviously that'll work with the version of Stadia they want you to use. I feel like they probably could make it work with the regular Chromecast, but they want people to be subscribing to the more expensive one. They don't want to lock people into only using the free one with a piece of hardware.
But I mean, we're waiting for another 6 months, 7 months, whatever. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit more wider availability on devices.
I'm sure it's gonna expand dramatically. I'm sure eventually it'll work on like every Android phone.
It's gonna come. It's just, I mean, I would, from the outset, you would like to get that impression going and make it open as possible.
Yeah. So I feel like I've sort of come around on Stadia a little bit, because like when we got the info originally, I was like, oh, this is like GeForce Now again, and that was that didn't work the way they were doing before, and they're like revamping it now to try to do this different thing, and nobody was really down with that. But I feel like it's the base Stadia that actually is going to be interesting when it comes out, because you don't have to pay a monthly fee. You just buy the games, and 1080p is probably fine for most people. I mean, unless you're playing on a giant 4K TV, you're not really going to notice the difference between 1080p and 4K, assuming Google's compression technology doesn't like completely butcher 1080p.
That and a lot of the games, in all honesty, like some of these games are going to be beautiful. Others, it's really not going to matter. A
Yeah.
lot of these you can get away just fine with 1080p, and
Yeah, and
you
if
won't
you're
even be able
playing,
to tell a difference in many
I mean,
cases.
if you're playing on like a phone or a laptop, 4K isn't going to matter. You're not going to be able to tell the difference, especially on a phone. There is zero advantage to 4K on a phone. I think that this Stadia base is actually potentially really interesting. I mean, it's
That's
going
going to
to,
be where the bulk of the traffic is going to be coming from.
and eventually, I think that the like Stadia Pro could be kind of a cool thing to have when connectivity catches up. Because I mean, look, if you're going to stream 4K like video to play a game, that uses a lot of bandwidth. A lot of people don't have enough bandwidth, and a lot of people have bandwidth caps. I feel like if Google can stick with Stadia long enough, which I know for Google is kind of questionable, then when 5G data becomes more widely available, I think that could make it very interesting and useful, because carriers, I think, for the most part, are going to let 5G data just go unmetered. That's part of the bargain.
I feel like on that front, it's really ironic how home broadband speeds in the U.S. rank so far below many other countries. It's just hilarious, and many households can't even get to that 35 megabit per second magic mark for 4K. And 5G is going to be this incredible thing, and Verizon is sort of dipping its toes into fixed 5G service, which would be a great thing. It's but I to feel that phones will get this first, we'll get the high speeds first, and then the home will have to catch up is kind of funny in a weird way.
Yeah. I mean, clearly T-Mobile it really wants to be delivering 5G to homes. Like, that's why they're doing their weird LTE in-home service right now, hoping that they'll get the Sprint deal done, and they'll have this spectrum to make that happen. But I mean, like right now, you're not missing a lot with 5G. I mean, 5G as it is at the moment it has such poor coverage that Stadia and really any other application is not going to see a benefit from it. But in a couple of years, if Google can stick with this, then I think Stadia could be a thing that makes 5G actually kind of useful. If you have a 5G phone that can pull down reliably, hundreds of megabits per second, you can just like pop your phone out and start streaming like a high quality, like console game on your phone.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm picturing the prospect of being able to go over to somebody's house and not worry about hooking up to their Wi-Fi, not having to mess with anything. You just simply bring out your phone, maybe set up some stream directly to a Chromecast Ultra you're also carrying with you, and then you could just straight up play.
Yeah, I mean, or just bring Chromebook, like the entry level basic Chromebook that can run, that has the Chrome browser. Like it should work just as well as a gaming laptop. Presumably, of course, assuming Google's technology is, good. I mean, I used Project Stream when they were testing it, and it was fine. It didn't look as good as the game when rendered on local like gaming PC hardware.
I think inevitably it can't, or at the very best you can hope for is you won't be able to notice the difference. But
I mean, it's hard to say if the technology is just sort of is still evolving, or if what we saw in Project Stream is just what it's going to be. I think if that's the case, then maybe this isn't going to work so well, because I feel like that's not something I would pay for. Like the way the game looked was not like I would just if I wasn't mainly a PC gamer, I would just like buy a console if that was what Stadia offered.
Yeah, and again, so much of this is going to come down for each customer. It's going to come down to what type of games you play, like how much does lag impact you? How much does the types of screens you're playing on impact you, or where you can play? Like if you're the type of person who's going to be roaming around your house and playing on 3 different screens depending on like who's awake at what time or where you want to play, Stadia sounds really compelling. It's a lot better than carting a console from room to room. On the other hand, if you're um, I'm just looking at the list of games. If you're planning on playing, let's say Final Fantasy 15, which if I recall is supposed to be pretty gorgeous, uh yeah, you're probably not going to want to see a compressed image that's even
Yeah.
if the compression is good, you're not going to want to see a compressed image of that. And you're not going to want to play something like Mortal Kombat with any lag. The smallest amount of lag wrecks fighting games. So, some of these are going to be really tough sells, and others, I don't think people are going to care at all.
I think the good part of this is that because of its nature being online and whatnot, you can just hop in and out. If you don't like it, then you don't have to go back to Best Buy and tote along that console and say forget about it, or have to deal with GameStop. God forbid you do that. So yeah, that's a positive. But I feel like if you're comfortable with your consoles right now and you want to just try this out, feel free, and you don't have much guilt afterwards.
Yeah, but I mean, the 130 buy-in to do,
For the early
launch
adopter,
is a bit silly. I think.
is. I think if you're a geek about this, then you're kind of maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not gonna say.
Somebody on the Android police staff, who shall remain nameless, ordered the founder kit like instantly when it was available. So, some people are into it, I guess.
Shall remain nameless, but we'll be writing the review about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, price-wise, I don't think this is that bad of a deal. It has its problems for sure, and it kind of depends on what some of the stuff in the FAQ ends up saying about can you take your games with you, which doubtful.
So it's $10 a month, which is I think the same that you pay for Xbox Live Gold, right? Anybody know?
It's close to that.
Xbox, but I feel like that's not like an unacceptable amount of money if the experience is good enough. But I think people are kind of generally uncomfortable with the whole like buying games in addition to the subscription. And then if you stop paying the subscription on other services, you would lose access to games. On Stadia, at least you still have them, but they're 1080p, which depending on how picky you are, I mean, that might seem like an okay deal. Maybe you could just like pay for a Stadia subscription, like if you buy like the new Assassin's Creed or whatever, and you want to like play it in 4K. And then if you're just going to play, one of Google's like indie things, you'd be like, whatever, I'm just going to do the free version for a month or two.
Well, hopefully it turns out to be a good deal for all involved. And you know what else is a pretty good deal? Being subscribed to us through Twitch Prime. I mean, we got Cobus Estas, B Diddy 430. Ryan, you're cheating. You can't do that. Sorry, Ryan Whitwap. Dayton Combs. We got Swamp Biscuit going in here. Just a whole bunch of people giving us the love and the support we need to continue making this podcast. Scuttlefield. There we go. The kid just keeps going down. Thank you so much to all those people who have been subscribed to the Android Police podcast. And if you enjoy the show, you want us to continue our work here, we would love it if you will consider subscribing via Twitch Prime at twitch.tv/Android Police. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can connect your Twitch account to your Amazon account and get 1 free sub each month. That means that you can give us money without actually having to pay anything. And when you subscribe to us, you get to use a special emoji in the chat that I don't know how to trigger emoji the chat, actually. So let me try and figure this out. Is it the same as a Slack, or is it just...
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's try this out. Yeah, that's the one I want.
Right.
That's Ryan Hager. That's his emoji right there. Boom. You can see his lovely face, and you can use it in your chat whenever you want. Also, you get extra entry methods in our site's giveaways, and you can find the instructions for linking all of this below the stream on our channel page, or if you're listening to the audio version, it's in the episode description. And keep in mind, Prime subscriptions have to be renewed manually each month. If you're not sure that you're still subscribed, you can double check at twitch.tv/Android Police. The button will say subscribe if you're not subscribed. So fantastic stuff. I think we should move on.
Really quick, because it was brought up in chat and it's something I was just about to hit on. One thing that I think a lot of people are going to be really worried about is what happens if the service ends up getting killed in a few years. Basically, A, do you get to, at that point, games that you've paid for, do you get to take them with you? And B, your save games. Like if you've worked on, let's say, a Borderlands 3 character for a few months or years, you're not going to want to see this stuff vanish just because Google decides to kill a service.
One of the few times that a good comment has ended on one of my AP stories was a person that said someone's going to make a killing off of growing an insurance company based off of Google's properties that they abandon after however long, just because it's been, poorly managed. Like, that would be a great business opportunity.
Kind of could be.
Okay, let's move on, and we'll talk about the latest Android Q beta. So this it's the fourth beta, and this one is important because it has the final API. So developers can start building and testing apps for Android Q, and they can submit those apps to the Play Store. So they will be there and waiting for you when Android Q rolls out later this year. There's still a couple of betas left. But you can install this one on any Pixel device, and I don't know, are the non-Pixel test phones, do they have the update yet or no?
I think each of them are doing their own thing because, as I understood Huawei's situation, it was a developers only program and it was going to run through to June 30th. So each of them is kind of like a see as you go basis. I think they're still on the third image, most of them at least. Essential might be following along here.
I think I heard Essential was they did it within like an hour or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had theirs out really quick.
I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it's a free as you go kind of thing. We're talking about 21 OEMs. Oh, wait, 13 OEMs and 21 devices or something like that. Some combination. Yeah.
So I think probably the most interesting thing in this release is Google solidifying the way it's going to do gestures in Android Q, just gesture navigation. Because of course they started trying to do that in Pi, and it's pretty bad. It's not a good system. And at I/O, they talked for the first time about what they're going to do for the gestures going forward. So we saw some of this, but now it's all live in Q, and you can use it. And I think it looks and works a lot better than what we had in Pi. It's going to be kind of on developers to support it correctly, though.
I think by fully gestural, like just that term, it's just showing your phone the middle finger and expecting it to like go back or just like shut off or something like that. No, I mean, in all seriousness, it's about. I think it's just one of those things where Android kind of experimented and gave up. It was one of those branches that just dead ended, like many other things at Google. But yeah, it's something that we just had to expect.
Yeah. So in Android Q, they're basically iPhone gestures now. So you swipe up on this like elongated like pill at the bottom of the screen. It looks like the iPhone 10 like pill thing. You swipe up on that to go home. You swipe up and hold to get to multitasking. And then to go back, you swipe in on either the left or right edge of the screen, which I think is going to be the most divisive element of this. And it's, it'll take some getting used to. It's way better than than what we had in Pi. But developers are going to have to make sure they don't put any swipe elements at the very edge of the screen, which is going to be a big change for some apps. And they also need to support drawing behind the navigation bar. Maybe they don't have to, but they really, really should. I really want them to do that because I'm sick of like the ugly black bar at the bottom of the screen, and it kind of looks even more awkward when it's just the very tiny bar for this this pill. It looks really weird and out of place. But developers will be able to support just like a transparent background for that. So it basically looks like an iPhone now.
Don't get me started about context menus for apps, because Xiaomi also has gestural controls, but they make it so that the top portion of your left or right sides are not back or whatever controls that you can put, because you have to be able to access those slide out menus that tell you, hey, here are your settings, here are other channels that you could be going into. So I feel like if Google made that exception, which it is not the case right now, that'd be great, at least in terms of trying to tamp down any confusion or any frustration that might come out of this.
The whole problem here, though, is this is necessarily a big change in usage model and what developers are expected to build. So you're going to have old apps that just never get updated, that aren't going to work with the new model. You're going to have so many weird complications with this. It honestly, I get why they choose something that's so similar to Apple's gestures, but at the same time, I think maybe they still probably should have chosen something that was more compatible with what they've already pushed down the road.
We are still going to have the buttons, though. Google said that they're going to leave the buttons there because of accessibility reasons. And also, I think there's some people who just won't want to use the gestures. But I mean, the switch to on-screen buttons was rough, too. There was a period of, 2 or 3 years where a lot of apps you downloaded would still have the legacy menu button of shame down there in the navigation bar. It took a while. We moved on. We'll move past this too. It's just, it'll take a while.
Yeah, but the menu button issue was more like it was bad and it had its problems, but it didn't actually break existing apps. This, at least without the buttons, actually breaks some apps. So,
developers will have even more reason to fix their apps.
The ones that are still around and supporting those apps.
Yeah, I mean, if a developer is completely abandoned,
and the ones that care,
I don't know that I really want to install it anyway. There are probably a lot of other problems.
Well, maybe the Play Store is just going to tighten up those API requirements and just bring it up to what is it now? 29.
I think it's Q. I mean, a lot of these like old apps end up getting like called in, one of Google's policy updates where they decide like, oh, you can't use this method to do this thing, or this API is now private, or this kind of content we don't allow anymore. So a lot of old apps are just going to end up going away at some point anyway, if developers completely abandon them.
Well, someone who has not abandoned us is Poison Rock, who has been subscribed via Twitch Prime for their 3rd month in a row. So thanks to Poison Rock for that.
Also credit earlier to DITPL, Diddle PL, not sure. Thanks for 2 months.
Okay. What other Q things? What other Q things do we want to talk about here?
I'm going to have a hard time with the dynamic system updates. I'll be honest. I think it's mostly a dev thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, more updates, like the image updates.
Oh, it's actually just fully. Oh, I thought that was already a thing. Oh man.
This is something that's coming in with this version of Android.
It feels like these improvements are just on a glacial pace, and it's just like they announce it 2 years before, and then it's only finally just starting to actually take some sort of shape. Oh, man.
Well, sure, if you're Tim Cook, you would see it that way.
Well, I've never owned an iPhone.
Sorry, it had to be done. For those who are listening later or just head under a rock, Apple did a keynote earlier this week and announced a whole bunch of things, and Tim Cook made a couple of really bad jokes.
Just a couple?
Well, I mean, the really bad ones. He did not spend that long on stage. Like, he was smart and got everyone else up there to make the bad jokes for him.
So are you saying
Anyway.
that he wrote all of their scripts for them?
Ooh. Not going down that road, but that gets harsh.
Okay. There's also apparently a way to access Google Wallet, or do we need Google Pay?
It's, if I understand correctly, and I'm not sure I do, I think it's whatever you have set up as your payment
See.
provider. So it's probably going to be Google Pay, but I think it could be any of them.
So you can access it via the power button.
But does it like, aren't most phones doing the double tap for camera thing already? Like,
most.
So I wasn't clear. Was this a double tap to launch it, or
maybe it might be?
I thought it was like a hold.
Yeah, like
if it's like a long,
like before the power menu. Like you'd have to like, or is it in the same place as the power menu?
See, that gets tricky because we've already utilized kind of the utilities for the power button in terms of that. Utilizing the utilities.
So just to be clear, this is not actually working yet.
Yeah, we don't know for sure what it's going to do. We just know that the the functions exist somewhere in the system. They just don't work.
Yes, and there is an animation, and it shows basically pressing the power button very briefly, the way the animation makes it look, but it's not clear if that could be a long press or just a short press.
I mean, there's no way that a short press would do that. Like, that should turn your screen off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this is going to be at least theoretically, a standard gesture that should open up whatever your wallet app or payment app, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's going to be, and then you'll have access to your credit cards, boarding passes, anything that you would store in there.
I don't know. Tap once, put it to sleep. Tap twice, open the camera. Tap 3 times, maybe you could do that. Otherwise, you're holding it for like 3 seconds. And
I would be fine with a hold being the wallet, and then like a longer one being turning off the phone. I don't need to do that very much. It's sort of like if you're using OnePlus phone with gestures, a long press of the power button is assistant, and then like a long press is the power menu.
I do appreciate that, not having to fuss around for the Google Pay app to choose your card is very much appreciated, because I know that a lot of the time, even just my default card just doesn't work for my situation. Maybe I'm trying to get points on some other purchase, so it's like, yeah, I get it, but it's a little tough.
All right, well, let's move on from Android Q and talk momentarily about the FCC. But for once, we have nice things to say about the FCC. They've done a good thing.
For once, yeah. So this has been talked about for the past couple of weeks, and Congress has been slowly making its way through signing the appropriate bills for this. But the FCC just voted on basically banning robocalls and just getting carriers to adopt stir, shake, and certification for these calls. And there are a whole bunch of strings attached to it, but in general, this is a good thing. So, and I don't even know how many reports we've seen, TV news reports, where it's just like, hey, we've received a robocall during the making of this report. Please do something about this. It's just been ridiculous.
So really quick, just for clarity, this does not ban robocalls, not in any legal sense. It just gives carriers permission so that they can block robocalls automatically.
Yeah, they don't have to do that for free either. If they want to make that a paid service, they can do that, and they will probably try.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's been talked about in the past that some carriers and phone companies have made a bit of profit off the fact that robocalls still exist, not just for blocking services, but in other ways. So you kind of got to bet there are going to be at least a couple of them that are a little reluctant or kind of dragging their heels on actually doing anything about this. But I think at the same time, like, this is the ultimate, no matter what, customers within a few months or a year or whatever, you will be able to guilt the living daylights out of your carrier, and no one will stick with a carrier that's not doing this eventually.
Yeah, it's they have to turn this feature on by default, and in alignment with what you guys have said, I would be watching your bills to see if that admin fee has gone up a little bit, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah, sad but true.
Mm.
You know what else? You know what else is sad is the state of RCS messaging. It is real bad, real bad.
RCS, you mean RCS?
Verizon is trying to make it slightly less bad, maybe, sort of. They're launching the universal profile, but I think not on all phones, right?
Not just the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus.
Yeah. Okay. So on 2 phones, it's good. It's a good job, Verizon.
Very, very universal.
Yeah. So anybody who's not aware, RCS is basically the successor to SMS. It goes through carriers, so they have sort of all of the control here. But when it works, it provides longer messaging and read receipts and high quality image transfers and file transfers and all kinds of cool stuff. But it's been a long slog to get where we are now, and it's real bad. So a lot of phones just don't have the support. Carriers are rolling out support piecemeal, like 1 phone at a time or 2 phones at a time, and there are like the interconnects between carriers just don't exist yet. So it's like sending a text message in 1998. Like if you were on a different carrier of like whatever the 2 carriers were at the time, you just couldn't send somebody a text message. So yeah, most of the time, all the messages you're sending are defaulting back to SMS because it's such a terrible, ungodly mess.
Well, Japan solved that with emoji. Like they fit in 140 characters, just a whole bunch of concepts and messages that you can never even think of. Now you have 8,000 characters or whatnot. I don't know. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah. So the Pixel 3 does have RCS on Verizon, but those don't use Verizon's messaging hub. They use Google's Jive hub. So I don't. So do they? But they still talk to other.
No.
Phones on Verizon though, or
Verizon S9 and S9 Plus can only RCS with
No,
Verizon.
We're talking about the Pixel 3.
The Pixels.
And the Pixel 3. No, I don't believe
it has, because those have RCS through Jive. I think they can still RCS talk to other Verizon phones, but not to other carriers.
Perhaps, but as far as I know,
this is why RCS is bad. We can't even tell because so much of this stuff is on Verizon's back end. We don't know how they've implemented it.
As far as the Reddit, where I believe it was a Verizon engineer that posted a bunch of updates about this, they're saying that Verizon is working on bridging its universal profile to others.
Okay, so at the moment. Lord of the Bushes in the chat room says that the Pixel 3 on Verizon does. Well, he says it's universal. He's on Fi, and he has used RCS with Verizon people on the Pixel 3. I think that's probably because it's using Jive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is only Pixel 3 to Pixel 3. Or, to be fair, I don't think this is just Pixel 3s. Doesn't this also go to 2s and the original Pixel?
God, I don't even know.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
I would tend to imagine this as like a bunch of island nations using different servers. So you got the Jive Nation, you got the Verizon UP Nation, and then you got T-Mobile doing whatever the hell they're doing, and being very inconsistent about supporting their devices, such as the Pixel 3a and 3a XL. Congratulations, you guys! You're doing great. But yeah, that's kind of the situation we're dealing with, and it is horrid.
Yeah. RCS started as such a good idea, and it has been ruined by Samsung and carriers.
They put so much control in the hands of carriers, which are notoriously slow to roll this stuff out and don't care so much about interoperability. And for a lot of people, SMS might be fine, but the longer this goes on, the more people are just going to start using WhatsApp and Signal and Telegram and whatnot.
Who needs enemies when you have friends like this?
Yeah, it's so bad right now. Like Google is just completely gave up on having its own messaging platform. Like they just like they're like, all right, we're done. Now we're just all in on RCS, which by the way kind of doesn't exist yet. So good luck on that.
SpeakXJ7. I do agree. Server bridges are like marriages in Game of Thrones, which, you know, I'd hate to see the one that dies in episode 5 of You know what? No, I'm going to abort. That's fine.
Okay. So we're gonna just take a moment now, just to remind you that you can subscribe to the Android Please podcast on Twitch, and it doesn't cost you anything if you are an Amazon Prime member. So be like Seahouse, who subscribed with Twitch Prime. This gives the show money. It helps us keep doing this, and if you do it while we're on the air, you get a cool Pixel 3 XL notch that just sort of comes in and takes up a big chunk of the screen, because we all love that. What else do we love? Google Maps with a speedometer, which is apparently a thing now. I don't have this yet, though. Should I have this?
I gotta admit, I saw the conversation in chat. I didn't get around to reading the article. But like most things on maps, almost everything rolls out at a very slow pace. So I would bet against it.
So our post says it does not seem to be widely available yet, but we have received reports from lots of countries where people are seeing it. So hopefully soon. Although I use Google Maps mostly in Android Auto, so I probably won't have it for 6 or 8 months.
Well, on the plus side, you also have a speedometer in your car, so
I mean, yeah, but like it's not the thing that I'm staring at when I'm trying to figure out where the hell I am.
Perhaps, but that's kind of the hands. I don't know.
I mean, the speedometer is kind of silly in everything when you think about it. Like if you're in Google Maps navigation, you're in a car, you probably have.
You might be on a bicycle. You could be walking.
But like, okay, well, I don't think that's really super useful.
You definitely could use it while on a bicycle.
Like, I mean, I can understand. So like they have speed limits. So it can be kind of helpful if you're staring at the navigation panel to be like, that's the speed limit and that's how fast I'm going. So maybe I should.
Or if you're a horrible rideshare user and you would like to rat out your driver for breaking those rules.
It'd be
horrible.
Pretty bad.
It'd be bad. Don't do it. Please. Why does this feature exist?
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. It's a thing. Apparently people were like asking for this. Somebody was.
People have asked for this for years. It's far from a new or far from a new thing that anyone wanted it. But reasons why people want it vary everywhere from they drive a car where the speedometer is broken to they want to be the passenger and see what the driver's seeing. What was that?
People like drive cars with broken speedometers. I don't even know how you would do that.
Sadly, I know a few people who do that.
Oh yikes! That's
well, at most of them, I think honestly, they just pace whoever they're driving with. Like if there's any other vehicle on the road, they just pace them and go. That's good enough.
Yeah, I think the only good thing is if Google hasn't already done some compiling on data in terms of, all right, maybe we should reconsider speed limits for this stretch of road and crowdsource that data with the Google Maps and whatnot. Perhaps that's government reform or something, but I don't really see it happening like that.
So anyway, what is this about it? Samsung's Galaxy Home Smart Speaker.
So
transitions.
It's supposed to come out in the third quarter of the year now. I'm kind of surprised that it's coming out at all. It seems like a terrible idea. They announced it alongside the Note 9 last year, so it's been a while.
So this is running Bixby, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why it's a bad idea. There's no reason to do that at all. Bixby can't do anything.
And it also looks bad. Like, honestly.
I don't mind the way it looks.
Oh, okay, you're wrong. That's fine. But it does look bad.
I don't think it looks great. I think it's okay.
It reminds me, I mean, one could say it kind of looks like a Google Home. It has vaguely similar shape, but it reminds me more of like what type of glass is that? Basically like a stemless wine glass. It has that sort of shape to it, but it also has 3 feet sticking out, and it just looks super easy to knock over. It looks like just a speaker that's sitting in the wrong orientation.
I don't know how because it's a speaker bass output is just going to be weird, and we saw the HomePod experience some teething issues or just like bad issues with bass, and how it affects the bass, the BASE of the actual HomePod. So that's the legs might have something to do with I don't know. I'm not excited about talking about this at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think we know how much it's going to cost, but hope it should be free or as close to it as possible.
Well, free with the Samsung phone. I could see that happening.
Because I don't know how much everybody out there has used Bixby, but it doesn't do the things that you would want a smart speaker to be able to do. It does some phone specific things, like if you need to dig into Samsung's sometimes ridiculous multi-level menus, you can just ask Bixby to go to the thing you want, and it can do that, and that's kind of fun. And it can turn on your flashlight and whatever. And they've added this rebranded automation thing as a Bixby feature, but that's not the same Bixby that's in the speaker.
To be fair, if this gets canceled, it wouldn't be as big of a flop as the Air Power Pad.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like Samsung's still going to release it. I don't know. I guess we'll see. It'll come out eventually, I guess, and we will probably tell you how bad it is.
Okay, so I just had the weirdest thought. Another product Samsung was going to release and ended up delaying and will almost certainly cancel was the Fold. I know that this is a stretch, but a small part of me is wondering if they were actually going to end up intentionally shipping these out to Fold owners or something like that as an extra secret perk. And now that the Fold isn't going to be there, these have no reason to exist yet.
I don't think they're going to cancel the Fold. I would be surprised.
I don't think they're going to cancel doing a foldable phone, but that particular model I think is probably not happening.
That would be interesting. I guess we'll see. Let's see. Okay, so OnePlus 7.
Why?
You have more. Or are you talking about the OnePlus 7? You don't care.
Why are we even going to talk about it?
I mean, it's in the lineup, Cody.
Yeah, we didn't get to finish going through the list.
Okay.
Short version. It's available for purchase in the UK and Asia.
Yeah.
And Europe and whatnot. But hey, if you listen from those regions, do contact us so that you can engage with us or something, and that story meant something to you.
We've talked about this phone a couple times already. There's nothing new to say besides it's not available for sale.
Yeah, it's like the Pro, but it looks like the 60. Okay, good. All right.
Congratulations.
Okay. Google Trips.
So yeah, Google is killing yet another app. Okay, so for some people, they kind of probably thought this was a surprise. I think to anyone who looked at download numbers or just ever asked if anyone else used this app, they probably weren't surprised. It had a bit over 5 million downloads throughout its 3-year life. And as I kind of flippantly said on our Q&A show, I had to do teardowns on this app for 2+ years, and I still never actually found a use for it. I know some people loved it, and absolutely cheers to anyone who did, but I don't know how, except for finding discounts, which Rita she's been singing the praises of that. Besides that, I don't really understand the purpose of this app. But anyway, it's going to be shutting down August 5th, was it?
Yep.
Yeah. So either of you guys going to miss this?
I mean, I never used it. Like most people, I assume. And everybody is, I think a lot of people who are complaining about this have never used it either. It's just, Google kills something, everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon to shame Google for it. But Google's a big company. It does lots of things, and some of those things they just aren't gonna work.
Yeah, and especially with the launch of the new travel hub on the web, because most people plan out their travels anyways on desktop, or they're actually. I think I made the point in my original article that they needed to look at the fine print, look at cross compare between tabs, and like that has more space for you to do that with. So it makes sense for an online hub to exist, as opposed to, okay, what are you going to do on the go? Well, look at maps mostly, or just a quick search, and that's it. So
and
it makes sense.
Search and maps on your phone will be getting a lot of the Trips features apparently. So it's maybe a loss for people who just really loved the Trips app, but there aren't very many of those people.
Individually, oh, go ahead.
No, I was only going to say that they could port a lot of the discounts to Google One, which they have already been doing for a lot of other like promos and discounts for other little tiny things, but that could be it.
One of the things I almost kind of have to give them credit for, and any inbox users will totally respect this point, at least with Trips, almost all the features are already available somewhere. You can either look to the Google Travel website, or you can look to Google Maps. One or the other has almost everything that Trips offered. There are admittedly still a few things missing, but you have really good coverage. Whereas Ask Any Inbox user, they're all, not everyone, but most people are still really mad about the transition to Gmail. It's missing tons of stuff that they love from Inbox. And you could look at, the shutdown of so many other things. Obviously, Reader. I won't list everything, but point is, there's been quite a few, and most of them did not have a really good replacement sitting out there. So, this is actually at least kind of a model for better than what it was. As SpeakXJ brings up, Google Play Music. Everyone knows that's going away for YouTube Music. Though, to be fair, Play Music isn't dead yet. So
it still has time.
Yeah, there's time to make it better.
If they don't let people import their existing Play Music libraries, people are going to flip out, though.
Yeah.
I probably will, because I still use Play Music. I don't want to have to rebuild a library in YouTube Music.
Yeah.
I'm just Spotify. Sorry.
I hate Spotify. The app is god awful. I can't stand it. It's terrible.
I've only briefly tried it, but I don't care for it either.
Also, it once crapped out and deleted all my music about 10 minutes before I was getting on an international flight. So I can never forgive Spotify for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Yikes. Well, on that positive note, on that sunset of a sunset, we should sunset this podcast. And I don't mean just this episode. Let's just end it here.
Yeah, this will be the last episode ever. No, so we're just gonna call it for today, I think. So just a quick reminder: you can subscribe to this show on twitch.tv/AndroidPolice, and you should, because it's free if you're an Amazon Prime member, and it helps us keep doing the show. If you would like to send us a comment or a concern or a complaint, you can do that at podcast@androidpolice.com, and also join the Twitch chat during the show. That's probably the best way to get your words in front of our eyeballs. So yeah, do that, and we'll catch you next time.
Good night, everybody.